Excuse me. Excuse me.
Sit down.
You're out of line and an embarrassment.
Sit down and don't play this stuff.
The next shooting is right now, and you are doing nothing.
No, you need to get his out of here. This isn't the place to talk this over.
This is totally predictable when you...
Sir, you're out of line. Sir, you are out of line. Sir, you are out of line. Please leave this auditorium. I can't believe you're a sick son of a that would come to a deal like this to make a political issue.
That was Democratic candidate for Texas Governor Beto O'Rourke there in the audience, confronting his opponent in the upcoming election, incumbent Greg Abbott, during the governor's briefing Wednesday. Let's talk about this rapid politicization of Tuesday's tragedy with Democratic strategist Kevin Walling and Republican candidate for Senate in Oklahoma, T.W. Shannon. Welcome back.
Hey, Shannon, good to see you.
Hi, Shannon. Thank you for having me.
Okay, I want to start with the Wall Street Journal editorial board tonight. Beto O'Rourke goes for broke. They say trailing in the polls, Mr. O'Rourke must figure he had to take a risk on politicizing the murders, even as emotions are raw, and officials are still trying to figure out Ramos's motivation. On Wednesday, he got his soundbite. We'll see if Texans agree that this mass murder was all about gun control. TW, I'll start with you for comment.
Yeah, when I first saw this, it reminded me of something my grandmother used to say, a lot of class, but it's all low. Beto should be ashamed of himself. This is a time for mourning and really a time of defining action for our country as we come together. And instead of thinking about the children and the families that suffered in such a grievous way, Beto was doing what he does best, and that's thinking about Beto. And the reason he does that is because his policies are out of step and they're out of touch with certainly Texans, but all of America, really, because he's part of that Marxist agenda that wants to transform who America is. And he needed this stunt to try to jumpstart his campaign. It's embarrassing. He should be ashamed. And frankly, he should resign from participating in the election. He should withdraw his candidacy after tonight.
I think we all know he will not. So we'll see what Texans think about this. But Kevin, you know, for a lot of people here in Washington, they feel there's been a more diplomatic conversation that's going on. Senator Chris Murphy, who has understandably been furious and heartbroken, as we all are. NPR reports this, that he told NPR's All Things Considered he's working with both parties to try to find common ground. He says, maybe I'm a fool for being the eternal optimist, but I'm just going to stay at it for these next few days, the next week, Murphy said. He says he's far from confident that he can find enough Republicans to join Democrats to get the 60 votes necessary to overcome a filibuster. But Kevin, it sounds like he is having conversations with Republicans about anything they might be able to agree on.
He is, Shannon, and of course this has been the main focus of his Senate career since the horrible tragedy in Newtown, Connecticut. And listen, he's having conversations with Susan Collins about red flag laws, a national red flag program, potentially expanding background checks that we saw that was part of Manchin-Toomey that got 54 votes, including Republicans and Democrats, back in 2013. So we can honor the legacy, the tragic nature of this violence visited upon us by action. And I think that's what you saw with Beto O'Rourke. That's what you just saw on the panel that you hosted before us, Shannon, is Texans and the American people are looking for action. They're prayerful. They're horrified, but they're looking for government to do something about what we're seeing play out every week in this country. Beto O'Rourke talked about the five of the largest mass shootings in the last 5 years were in Texas, including in his hometown of El Paso. So I think you saw that confrontation play out today because of the frustration felt on the ground because of another tragedy like we saw play out just yesterday.
Yeah, and I think people want to have a conversation about what would actually make a difference, and noting the fact as we have that this shooter was breaking multiple state and federal laws and carrying out this heinous murderous rampage yesterday, from, the shooting his grandmother to taking all of those precious lives. I think people, if they are convinced that there's something that can be done that will actually make a difference, can rally behind that. We'll see what Washington comes up with. In the meantime, the White House has a lot of headaches to deal with on foreign policy and here domestically at home. This is the headline from Reuters. Biden's public approval falls to 36%, lowest of his presidency. TW, I know that Republicans are, predicting a mass red wave this fall. But I'm hearing from some of the top leadership, too. They're worried that these numbers like this poll and other things that seem to be trending against the president may make Republicans a little too comfortable.
Well, Republicans should have a lot to celebrate. not because of things are going so well in the country, but because Donald Trump was proven right on the America First policy agenda. And Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have done everything they can in their power to undo the America First policy, whether we're talking about the border, we're talking about the crime crisis sweeping across America, or we're talking about record inflation, which Joe Biden promised would just be temporary inflation. The truth is Americans are less free and they're less prosperous because of the policies of Joe Biden, and he's been unwilling or incapable of leveling with the American people about how we're going to turn things around. The real issue facing the world right now in the country is the next century going to be American-led, or is it going to be led by the Chinese? And when you've got a commander-in-chief like Joe Biden, who every time he makes a statement about international law, his handlers have to walk it back, it really makes Americans less safe because of Joe Biden. The truth is we need Republicans and we need leadership right away.
All right, let me make sure we get Kevin in here for a final word.
I mean, TW's running for Senate, so he's got to get that in. I understand that completely. I'm all about that for him. But listen, Joe Biden is the American people know Joe Biden is a fundamentally decent man that is working as hard as he can, tackling each of these different crises. He's rebuilding the Western world and this democracy of the world against Russia. You've seen Finland, Sweden interested in joining NATO. That is a good thing and has rallied the world on the international stage. A successful visit to Asia this past week. So obviously there's domestic problems at home. He's focused on that as well.
We're going to leave it there because you two will not agree. We will not leave this in agreement tonight, but we do agree that we love having you both. So thank you and come back soon.
Thanks, Shannon.
Thanks, Shannon.
Thank you.